All right, hello again, everybody. Back out here in the garage. We had really good luck with the first round of internet wisdom by doing the brake upgrade, and now we're going to go ahead and gamble it a second time. This time, power steering pump. So if you have an XJ and you got big tires on it, you'll know that these pumps cannot handle it. They start moaning, whining. They quit. Everything gives up on them. I had the problem going out to Colorado with it. By the end of the trip, this thing was groaning pretty bad, so she was done. So what we've decided to do is we jumped on the interwebs and we found out that everybody's running these. This is the power steering pump out of a Grand Cherokee. Again, I will put down in the description, I'll put the part number. That is from O'Reilly's. So if you need one, head on up there and get it. This does take some modifications to get it to work. We're going to go ahead and show you what we got to do. I've already stripped down some of the stuff here to save some time. So let's go ahead and get started. So now on this task, I went ahead and jumped ahead. I took the electric fan out just to give myself some more space. You can probably go ahead and do this with it still in. I would probably recommend it's 2 screws up top. Pull your wire harness out, fan comes out. Air box, I just took it out just so I could have some space. Easy unbolt. So now we got to get this thing out. So have a catch pan ready, because once you pull your return line off, you're going to have fluid everywhere. Well, I hope that's going in there. Sounds like it made it to the pan. I was afraid of this. This return line back here had been in here for so long, never been messed with. It's actually bonded to the rubber hose. It broke off, so that's all right. We'll address that in a little bit. Let's get the pump out of here. All right, so I want to take a minute before we get too far into this video to talk about the cluster that I've gone through with this upgrade. As you can see, we've got everything tore apart. I had to replace the lower radiator hose because that had been rubbing on the fitting down below. Almost put a hole in it, so we got that project going on. But anyway, I want to go through everything I've had to go through and learned on doing this swap to make it easier for you. So let's hop over here to the workbench and sort out the issues we've had with this thing. First thing I saw when people were online were saying that you should do this swap because this pump is out of the V8 Grand Cherokee. So this is a better pump. And the reason it's a better pump, this pump also runs a cooling fan. So this pump is going to push a lot more volume than the other pump. Now the other pump is living down there in a bathtub full of its own mess. But one of the things everybody talks about is swapping out this reservoir for your old one, because this one here, you can see it has 2 return ports on it. So everybody says just pop this off, pop your old one on, and you're good to go. Doesn't work. Let me show you why. Your old housing here, I actually broke the old fitting off because it's just old, and I went and I bought a new one. But if I would have done this before, down here, that's the port that goes into the inside of your pump. And this port is not the same as the port that's on this one. This one has a single O-ring, and this one here has 2 O-rings, and it nests in there perfectly. So when I took the new reservoir, put it on this pump, it does not seal. So you cannot use your XJ reservoir on the Grand Cherokee pump. It does not work. So the other thing I learned on this is there's two returns. Now on the old XJ reservoir, this is in the exact same location as the return on the XJs. But this is not the return you need to use. You have to use the lower one. This is the return from the cooling fan and all that setup. And apparently what happens is the fluid doesn't come in here quick enough and it'll cavitate, and then you get a bunch of air in your lines. So the recommendation is to use the lower one, because this is the return line from your steering box on the Grand Cherokee. So it's a lot bigger, gets the fluid in faster, because you got to remember this pump is going to be pumping a lot more fluid a lot faster, because not only does it run your power steering, it also runs a cooling fan. So you got to use the larger port to get the fluid back in here. So the big problem I had was, because this is bigger than this, is how are we going to get it to connect? So after going out and buying an assortment of hoses and adapters and all sorts of crap to try to get this thing to work, what I found works the best: 1/2-inch heater hose. I got about 2 foot of it, which I won't need all this. This hose will fit onto here. It's very snug. Throw a hose clamp on it, you're good to go. The fitting down here, it is going to be loose. But a hose clamp, I'm actually going to put 2, because it's flared right here, and then just a little farther up, there's another little bridge. So it's like a smaller flare on it. I'm going to slide this on here. We'll put 1 hose clamp here over the main, and I'm going to put another one, a second one, up farther up, just for safekeeping. I already tried it. On the Jeep itself, that main return line is flared. So by putting the hose clamp on here and really crimping down on it, it's going to be okay. It shouldn't leak. It is not under high pressure. This is not the high pressure line. This is the return line. So there is a little force to it, but it's not under anything high that's going to start squirting fluid everywhere. So I'm thinking with 2 hose clamps on it, we're going to be good. The other modification is this fitting right here. So this is the fitting that comes in the Grand Cherokee. And you can see this fitting is bigger than the fitting that's on your XJ. Now this is for the high power or the high pressure feed line. So you will have to switch these out. It's real simple, especially if you can take this off. All you gotta do to get those off is you bend that little tab up and then tap it with a hammer, and this thing will slide off. Slowly pull your reservoir off, because you don't want to damage the O-ring that's on it. There's one here, and there's also one down here on the bottom. Super simple. Pull it off, put a socket on here. When you take this off, you have to be careful, because there's a spring inside there. You don't want to lose that spring. So slowly take it off, have your hands on it, and you're good to go. For plugging off the upper line, all I did, went and got some universal rubber vacuum caps, slid one on, hose clamped it. She's solid. She ain't going nowhere. As far as fitment goes, this is a direct bolt-in, so you should have no problems. I've already test fitted a few times trying to mock up the hoses, and everything looks good. So we're going to get the pulley on here. We're going to get this thing mounted back in. So then after that, all we have to do is bleed the system out. That's pretty simple. Just jack it up, get the tires off the ground, work the steering back and forth, and keep topping off the fluid reservoir. Awesome. All right, belt's on, everything's tight. All we gotta do now, connect our high pressure line, the low pressure return, fill it with fluid. I gotta fill the radiator because that was a mess. Totally different subject. And then we're about done. Hoses are on. You see we got the return line double clamped on there just for extra security, you know, it works. Hose comes up and around. Like I said, it's got to go into the bottom return line. Upper one's capped off. Let's get the high pressure on, top this baby off, start purging it out, get all the air out of it. Alright, well, this thing's back together. No leaks. Double checked everything. We had to top off the radiator fluid and all that because that whole mess, but that's all taken care of. Power steering pump. Super easy to bleed. I actually put a little too much in. It kind of just barfed out, but we're good. Everything's dialed in. As far as how this thing works, what I'll say is if you took your stock Cherokee with 33s or 35s, these are 33s on here, or right around it, it's the off-brand size or whatever you want to call it. If you jack it up, put it on jack stands, and turn the wheel with no load on it, it's really easy. When you put it down, you got that tension to it. Well, this one here, with this pump, I can tell you, while it's on the ground under tension, it feels just the same as if you took your Cherokee and jacked it up with no tension. You can literally just take one finger and spin this wheel all over the place, and it handles it really well. It'll be really interesting to see how it does on the trails when you get it in a bind, how it pulls through. Knowing my luck, it's probably going to go ahead and rip the steering gearbox right off the frame. So, that'll be another project down the road that we'll get to tackle. But I can say for right now, if your power steering pump is going out, this seems to be like a good upgrade. I'm really happy with it. There took a little guesswork to get things to work, but all you have to do is just make sure you get like a 1/2-inch heater hose. Worked really good for me. Went right on. Saves you the time of having to try to find adapters and all that like I did. But make sure you put it on the right port. I've heard you get a lot of air in the system because I don't think that secondary port where the factory hose goes into can get the fluid through it quick enough, because this pump, it does pump. It has a higher volume flow to it because it's also running an external fan on the Grand Cherokees. So that's kind of why this pump on the regular Cherokees is an upgrade, because it just pushes more fluid, makes it a lot easier. Or whatever, I don't know. You guys just let me know down in the comments. Everything's good. This thing will be out on the trails here soon enough. Trying to get some buddies together so we can get a trip going, get some action going with that. But it'll be really cool to test out the brake system since we upgraded that. Power steering system's upgraded. So we've got more projects, so stick around. Gonna dive into that stuff. Keep going with these nice little winter pre-spring projects, so we got a good rig to take out on the trails and have some fun with. But that's gonna do it for this video. You guys, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, make sure you're subscribed to the channel by clicking right down here. Don't want to miss any new episodes, do you? Also, until then, check out one of these two. It's good stuff.